Hello and welcome to this Financial Services News Update. This short programme will look at the impact of financial crime on the financial services industry and how education is becoming an important weapon in the fight against fraud. It's almost impossible to gauge how much financial crime is costing the economy, but there is a belief that it's increasing. As worrying stories and statistics appear more frequently in the media, is now the time for companies to start tackling the issue with urgency? I asked the 2008 Money Laundering Reporting Officer of the Year, Clive Shelton from IFDS.
It is, Dave. Yeah, at the moment, things like financial crime prevention is mission critical for firms in the financial services field. The FSA particularly are putting much more resource behind financial crime prevention. They're certainly making a great many supervisory visits to firms, and they're putting a lot more effort into investigating the things behind financial crime. They're certainly completing surveys, and some of the surveys that they've done of financial services companies suggest that they expect financial crime to increase over the next 2 years. And one of the key things in that is not just about anti-money laundering, but actually fraud. And identity fraud is one of the key areas.
According to the UK's Fraud Prevention Service, CFAS, reported cases of identity theft has risen from 10,000 to nearly 80,000 between 1999 and 2007. That's hardly the 500% per annum claimed recently on the BBC's Money programme, but it's significant nonetheless. So it's crucial that financial services organisations are thinking about protecting their customers and investors. Within the IFDS portfolio, containing over 30 management companies looking after more than 6 million customers between them, Clive Shelton and his team have been tackling identity theft in many different forms, from directors' investments to cheques and debit cards, from internal fraud to regular saver scams. How serious a threat are these types of fraud? And more importantly, what are the implications of financial organisations not picking them up? In addition to the actual financial losses affecting customers, the FSA are raising the bar in terms of what they are expecting financial services organisations to achieve, and any breaches of regulatory requirements are being dealt with more harshly than ever. But as Clive explains, it's not just about the money.
The key to it, I guess, is that it does impact on their reputation with those customers, and building people's confidence in financial services companies means that the customers need to feel that the financial services companies are there to protect them and that are looking after their interests. I think the concerns about the FSA and meeting regulatory requirements are really secondary. It's about good business practice at the end of the day.
IFDS has a manifold strategy to protect against financial crime. Use of systems and automated controls, online anti-money laundering checks, effective procedures for recruitment and regular staff checks are all important to that. But it's the staff themselves that hold the key.
The biggest thing as far as prevention of financial crime, anti-money laundering, is having vigilant staff. Okay, and I think some companies probably underestimate the value of those staff. Now, certainly at IFDS, our staff are trained in some detail, but they are vigilant. They are extremely good at identifying suspicious activities. Not always, the activities are not necessarily always turn out to be fraudulent, but nevertheless they're good at identifying things that just look a bit odd and that need to be investigated by a money laundering reporting officer. And typically we get something like 100 to 160 of those suspicious activity reports every month.
IFDS provide a range of financial crime prevention training at different levels, starting with their staff induction programs, to comprehensive generic training, to job-specific training, ensuring that the staff can apply it to their everyday roles. A blended approach to learning is used, combining online and distance learning materials with face-to-face sessions and practical workshops, all backed up by annual refresher training with the latest information. where possible case studies are used to bring the important messages to life.
We will do role plays and things like that as well in these. So people actually want to come to these sessions rather than think of it as a chore. That's the main. That's what you're aiming for, really, is that you're actually engaging people into it. And it is the combination. And then afterwards, it is the backup of the online systems that they can access and ask questions of, that enables them. They're not quite sure about something, they can go in, they can look at this and get the information they want. We have a knowledge base where they can ask these sorts of questions.
To combat the threat of financial crime in the financial services industry, organisations need to be proactive in identifying and guarding against fraud. IFDS have found that practical face-to-face training combined with online and distance learning is an effective way of engaging staff on this burning issue, helping to continuously improve the service they provide to their customers. The proof is in the pudding.
Well, I think the evidence is the fact that we spot huge numbers of suspicious activities. All right, at the end of the day, they don't all turn out to be fraudulent, but we spot them, and in fact, our actual losses as a result of fraud is tiny. That's the thing. So that's a tremendous measure.